Mic check. Peas and carrots, peas and carrots. Keep it up, cutie. Hi, I'm Ashley Daigle, and this is advice from the Cheerbrarian. Never heard that word before? That's because I smushed two words together because I felt like it. Today, I am delighted, gobsmacked, and just over the moon to be speaking with Anna Przy, hilarious elder millennial content creator who tells us all to keep it up, cutie, as she advocates for mental health and choosing happiness in your daily life. If you like what you hear, and I really hope you do, please, pretty please, with two cherries on top, tell two people about this podcast. Send them a link, because sharing is caring. And now, let's begin. You know that you might be wondering how I got here meme? Well, today, that is me. I'm here this week about to talk with someone who I have found uplifting every time they come across my social media screen. I am so excited. I'm sort of forgetting the breathing thing. So I'm going to take a deep breath. Join me, please. There we go. There we go. Okay. So let me tell you a little about her. Anna Przy. This sweet-toned Midwesterner tackles the fear of the unknown, dismantles the myth of hustle culture, and fearlessly addresses issues like body image, burnout, and other perils of the modern age. Y'all, when this whole thing came together, I have started and been gushing about getting to talk with her, with everyone, because I'm so excited. As you can tell, I'm out of breath again. So let's get her in. Welcome, Anna.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. It's so funny that the sweet toned Midwesterner thing is
Yeah.
my book agent wrote that and
Oh,
I let it go and I was like, yeah, okay, because when people are like, is this your real voice? I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit grating but they thought it was sweet and I was like, I'll take it.
you're like, I will take that to the
Yeah.
bank. Amazing. I like it. I dig it. So my mission for us today, ma'am, is to try to keep this conversation under 100 hours because I do feel like I could talk to you if I've ever. And as someone who is similarly passionate about mental health and brightening the spirit of others, my podcast, I'm usually giving advice. So I cannot wait to get advice
You get a
from you
break.
today. I
Day
get a
off.
break. Cozy up. Okay. So for the uninitiated, there we go. Run, do not walk to her social media pages. Not right now. Right now, keep listening to us. You will laugh. So she is often found outside. I have to set the scene. Vacuuming, okay, in the snow sometimes, in a robe, hyping you up with observations and affirmations, like your bestie. And I have to tell you, you remind me. Have you seen the movie Booksmart?
Yeah.
Okay, the scene where they're, like, hyping each other back and forth, like, "How dare you look so beautiful?" Like,
Yeah.
that's the vibe I get from what you do.
Yes. I love,
And
like, an
so,
angry, like
like,
Yeah.
aggressively positive. Love it.
Yeah.
So you do a lot to inspire other people, and it can be difficult. So I just wanna know very simply, like, what inspires you to keep going?
The My entire platform and, like, my
Mhm,
entire social media life
mhm.
came from literally me learning and growing in front of people online, and
Oh.
so it's been 4 years, which is crazy, but the entire my stomach's growling, oh my god. The entire thing has been, like, I the I changed my own life by
Mhm.
deconstructing everything I thought I knew out loud, and the content that I make is for me, and each day when I'm giving a message and people say, "How did you know?" It's just that that's what I'm going through today too, and
Yeah.
I I'm so I know that it works because it worked on me. That's what I was trying to get to, and
Gotcha.
I changed my life with the stuff that I'm learning and sharing that. I want everybody to feel like the way that I feel. I want everybody. I know that it's not realistic and that's okay. I live a little bit in delusion, but
Yeah.
my life is so different than it was 4 years ago, and I am so much
Mhm.
happier and content, and all of that just came from, deconstructing social norms and getting out of that, like, societal expectation bubble and
Yeah.
trying to find who I was, and people aren't always ready for that, right? So that's the other thing.
Yeah.
If you're not ready for me, you're not ready for me. Because if you're still stuck, I get it because I was stuck for so long. But I just love sharing this because if anybody can feel the way I feel, I want that for everybody.
Gotcha. So you're inspired by, it sounds like, not only just like your own life, you're trying to inspire yourself,
Yeah.
but ultimately your goal is like, I want people feeling positive. I want them believing in themselves. I want them to just be
Yeah.
okay with who they are.
It's not even necessarily positive. It's just like I want
Mm,
you to find who you're supposed to be. And I want
mm,
you to go into rooms where that little alarm bell doesn't go off in your head saying like you need to apologize to everybody in this room for who you are as a person. I want
mhm.
everybody to build spaces for themselves where they get to be exactly who they are,
Yes.
like where you don't feel the need to work on yourself almost. Like I just want you to know you're okay, and that's kind of all that I've learned, right? It's that
Yeah.
I spent my whole life trying to change and be this person that I thought I should be, and when I
Hmm.
stopped doing that, I was like, "Oh, I actually think I'm kinda kick-ass, like, already," and I never even stopped to realize it, and I just want people to stop and be like, "Hey, I might be okay right where I'm at. I might not" like, check boxing our way through life because you
Hmm.
think there's something at the end of it, right? You think,
Yeah.
if I get the job and I get the car and the house and the guy and the whatever it is,
Hmm.
then I'll be happy." And it's like, "Hey, you don't need any of that stuff to be happy." Like, if you want it, great, but just so you know,
Yeah.
none of that's required. It's just
Mhm.
it's just throwing out the rule book, really.
You're speaking to my soul right now because I often describe myself as a person who is trying to get an A all the time and,
Yeah.
like,
I'm like the
living.
anti-A. I want you to
You
get an A at thinking you're awesome.
get an A at the, yeah, so often I think I'm not doing what you're saying, and I don't know if you can't, I mean, people listening can't see my face. You could, I was making some consternation face because I felt like I was being indicted, but, like, in a good way, like,
Right.
indicted in a way that I needed to hear it, like, you're
Yeah,
speaking
I hate when
to
I
me.
forget sometimes people are like, "I've been attacked," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
But again, like, but, like, aggressively, like, positively attacked, like, in a fun way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
And the only reason I can say any of it is
Mhm.
because I did all of it, right? I'm not
Right.
coming at this from from, like I started here. I always loved myself and thought I was cool, and I was a huge fan of myself from day one. It's like,
Mhm.
no,
No. Took
not
some
at
time.
all.
Took some time.
Yeah, and it's like, no, I mean, not to jump 1,000 levels, but, like, my
Mhm.
background in mental health is eating disorders. Like, talk
Wow.
about wanting to disappear or not being who
Sure.
you are or,
Yeah.
just not having any respect for my body, not having any respect for life, literally.
Yeah.
Um, and then being where I am today, it's like I'm not an expert at anything, but I have lived it, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're an
So
expert at being yourself and sharing that with other
yeah,
people, right?
yeah,
Like, that's what that's what it sounds like. You dug in, you got to know yourself, and now you're, like, putting that out there, and it's resonating.
yes, it's resonating if you're ready.
Well, and that's interesting you said if you're ready, because one of the other things I wanted to talk about is like, your journey to content creation is super inspiring because you have committed fully to putting your authentic self in the world. And that is hard. And
Mhm.
I'm sure that is scary to do. And so, first of all, I want you to pat yourself on the back. Can you do that? Give
I
yourself a
can.
pat. Good
It's
job. Good
peeling,
job.
but
You did great. You did great. So I wanted to ask about, what you just said might seem like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I could ever kind of be to the point you're talking about.
yeah.
So for someone who's looking for the courage to put themselves out there, take risks, what advice do you have for them when that fear and that negative talk is like shouting, is like in your face?
S Baby steps. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm also not about rushing it. I'm not about getting everything done today. I don't
Hmm.
believe you can change your life overnight, you know? I think it takes a long time, and it is just baby steps. I mean, you have to imagine that I posted once a day for 4 years to get to this
Hmm.
point, right? And
Right.
all of those posts were me learning a little something along the way, And it just
Mhm.
started with kind of making those realizations and accepting them as true. Like, I don't have to know what I want. And taking those, I don't know. The other thing is sometimes you know what
Mhm.
you want, but you're too afraid to admit it to yourself, and that was also
No,
me.
no, that's never
And
happened to me.
I know, I know, I know. And so I always say, like, you don't have to do the change today, but can you
Mm,
open the door? Like, can you leave the door open
okay.
and just sort of like put that change closer where you can see it and say, like, maybe, maybe.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
I don't know. I like all these metaphors and isms, but it's like it is that's the way it feels to me. Like how this was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I said
Mhm.
that. I said, I'm gonna open this door and then not go through it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
it's here. It's here if I want it, and I'm thinking about it." And that was me pursuing content creation as a career.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it for a long time, and I had kinda resolved not to do it, right?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, there was just, like I had said, "No, I'm definitely not leaving my job. I'm gonna keep doing content creation as a secondary job. I'm you know, that's what I want. That's what I really
Right.
want." And
Right.
then it was like, the more I went down that path, I was like, "Wait a second."
You're like, "Hold on. I
Yeah,
think I've been lying to myself this whole
yes, and it's
time."
also being so open to the fact that you can change your mind every single day. There there's
Mm.
no rules that say, like, you have to pick a goal and then you have to achieve it. It's like,
Did you see my face when you said there are no rules, you can change your mind every single day? My perfectionism just, like, rioted inside my
I
body. I
know,
was
it
like,
makes you feel
"No."
very hivey when someone's like, "Did you know you can change your mind every day? You could be a different person every day when you wake up, and there's no rules against it." I know.
Need to fan myself. I mean, yes, I believe you
No,
intellectually.
no, I know,
I
and that's what I
understand it.
mean too, and when people say,
Yeah.
"How did you get here?" I say, "I just kept repeating myself until one day I woke up and I believed it." And I said, "Whoa,
Mm.
I actually can do anything I wanna do." And then I was
Mhm.
terrified because
Right.
when you actually realize you can do anything you wanna do, it's like, "Oh, that's too many options."
I don't love
That's
that.
that's way too many choices.
I don't love that a lot.
I know,
Mhm.
I know. It's
Okay.
so funny, and that's what's interesting about what I do is, like, when you say, "I don't love that," it's like, yeah, I
Mhm.
don't love any of it either. And and it's all this stuff, yeah, that would've given me hives 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now I'm
Mhm.
like, "Wait, every day I can choose a new thing,
Mhm.
and I can
Well, and
just
maybe that's a mantra for the fear, right? Like, if it's really in your face, you can be like, "You know what? I don't have to do this." Even though you know
Yeah!
you're going to, right? Like, you can trick yourself. Be like, "I don't have to."
You don't
Right?
have to, though. Did you know that?
Mhm.
If you don't want to, you don't have to?
I've heard about these things. I've heard
I
about these
know,
things.
I
Yes.
know. Yeah,
Mhm.
and so it's kind of like I became the anti-hustle and the anti-A and
Mhm.
this, like I got a DM yesterday and she said,
Mm.
"Can you make a video about how to choose a career and where I should be at in my 30s?" And I was like, "Whoa." I was like, "First of all, you don't need to know any of that." I was like, "Let's take 1,000 steps back. I'm not gonna
Right.
make that video for you because no." My advice to you is choose every time you come to make a decision, right?
Mhm.
It happens all the time, and it's just like, which one of those things is gonna make you smile? I know, it's very cheesy, and
Yeah.
I it's like all these things I hate, like, "I'm so authentic," and choose the smilier route, and it's like, "No, but for real, take away the weirdness of it, and
Mhm.
what's the thing that's gonna make you happy?"
Mhm.
None of this is guaranteed, right? Like,
Right.
uh, it could all be over tomorrow, it could all be over in 2035 when the sun swallows us up, I don't know. I don't wanna be miserable. I
Yeah.
don't, and there is no glory in burning yourself out, and I always thought there was. I always
There
thought,
is
like
no glory in burning yourself
yeah,
out. I
and
had to
it's
repeat it. Had to
yeah,
repeat it.
there's no trophy for being the most exhausted person in the room. Like, nobody cares that you're the most exhausted person in the room, and it's like, except for maybe you, and you're the exhausted one, so it's
Oh,
kind of a lose-lose.
Anna, why are you being so mean to
I'm
me?
actually being so nice
You are.
that you're
You
perceiving
are.
it
I
as
know.
an attack. No,
I'm
I
taking it
know.
that way. No.
No, it is. It's been such an interesting journey, and you have to my background,
Mhm.
I forgot what we were even talking about, so I'll just keep rambling.
Yeah, do it. I love it.
My parents are
Mhm.
elite athletes, entrepreneurs. My mom is a doctor.
Mhm.
My when I was a kid, my parents were competing in the world championships for Ironman and
Wow.
and being, like, successful in their jobs and careers, and, like, my mom went back and got her PhD in her 60 like, they're just the 2 most impressive people I know,
Yeah.
and the most, like, "This is the way it's always been, so this is the way it has to be," people, and,
Yeah.
keep it to yourself because we don't need to talk about it, and
Mhm.
and here's the path for your life.
Right.
Take it.
And then you
Enjoy.
were like, or
I did take it, and I did do
yeah.
it. I got the degree, and I got the job, and I was a collegiate athlete, and I did what I thought I should do, and at
Mhm.
the end of the day, I had the house that I cried in, and the car that I
Mm.
cried in, and the job that I cried at, and the races that I cried after, and
Right.
it was like, "Wait a second, I don't
Yeah.
think this is right for me."
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it
Yeah.
is right for somebody, but it wasn't right for me, and that's really hard to be like, "Well, this is what they told me to do. They
Mhm.
said this was the right way to do it,
Yeah.
but I'm miserable."
It was
And
like somebody else's life you were living, sounds like.
yeah, I wasn't living my life, and
Yeah.
and I'd like to say that because I know you feel like I'm attacking you, but it's like I lived an entire life before this one, right?
Right.
I did it. I got the house and the car and I looked around and I said, "What did I do? I don't even know if I
Right.
liked myself. I don't know if I like
Mm.
my job. I don't know if I even like running." Like
Yeah.
and it was like the pandemic changed everything for me because I
Sure.
lost my job and I lost all, my money and and it was I looked around and I didn't hate myself.
Yeah.
And I
In
said,
the absence of the things that you thought were important, you were
"Yeah."
just
And
like,
I
"Hold
said,
on."
"Wait a second. I'm I It was like I broke my own brain when it was
Yeah.
like, I don't have any of the things that I put all of my value in. Like, I would be
Mhm.
valuable if. I would be valuable if I became the boss, and I would be valuable if I had everything that I was supposed to have. And all
Mhm.
those things were gone, and I was having fun,
Yeah.
and I was content, and I kinda liked myself,
Gotcha.
and it
That
just felt
is
so
mhm.
wrong, but
Mhm.
it really did set me up to be like, Hey, I'm not positive, but I think, something went wrong here."
You're like, "I think I just" you're like, "Guys, nobody freak out, but I think I have to do everything differently from
Yeah,
now on.
I was like,
Nobody worry."
I don't know what to tell you, but I'm gonna come online and try to tell you about it, you know?
Yeah.
And it started
And
with,
then
like, I am a fully grown adult woman who recently realized that liking liking something and being good at something are 2 different things.
mm.
Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
"Oh."
You don't have to be great at everything you try, right? Things can be hobbies, things can just be fun. Is that kinda what you mean, or
Yes, that's exactly
mhm.
what I mean, and it's been
Yeah.
such a celebration to find things that I'm bad at and still enjoy because it just shows me how far you can
Oh.
come.
What ca are you willing to share one? What's something you're bad at that you enjoy?
Surfing,
Surfing?
yeah.
Oh.
I've gone surfing a few times in the last couple years,
Mhm.
and I'm obsessed. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even get up, and I fucking love surfing. I
I mean, you're
I
doing
wanna
it,
go
you're
to
out
the
there.
beach and go surfing every day,
I wish that life for
and
you.
I can't surf.
I'm like, "You're in the Midwest, ma'am. That's gonna be a problem.
Exactly, it is
No
kind of an
surfing."
issue, but it's just, like, these little things where I'm like, "Man, I'm so bad at this, and I love it."
I've talked a little bit we've talked about hobbies some of this podcast, and there is joy in just there's a book I am in the middle of reading called The Power of Fun, and it's written by Catherine Price. And so she like realized, similar to what you're talking about, like, hey, I'm an adult, I don't have hobbies, what am I doing? And it was about realizing, sort of finding ways to do that as an adult, so you're not just like, I look at my phone, I cook dinner, I go to bed. And like, maybe you should try some new things to liven yourself up. Like mine was, I went, after reading some of that book, I went and flew a kite.
Right? You're like, "I gotta do something. I gotta do
and
something here."
and it made me so twitchy because I'm not a person who sits or rests, because we were going back to the, like, need an A thing. So just like sitting and watching a thing on a pretty day, I was like, how long have we been here? Oh, like 4 minutes. Okay.
That
it
was
was a
another
real,
thing I
it
realized.
was a real struggle. Yeah.
I love sitting, and I
Yeah.
never sat before, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I hadn't sat in 34 years, and
Yeah.
then
You were like, sitting's where it's at.
I put a chair outside and I sat in it, and I was like, "I think
Hmm.
this is my favorite activity."
There you go. Wow. You're I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much. Now, I have another question.
Mhm.
And this one is it's gonna show my type A again, because that's what I've got. Because, this is gonna be coming out in the new year. And there is so much, and I bet you have a lot to say about this. There's a lot of pressure with the new year, right? You need to be like, new year, new you. And you need to reinvent yourself. And there's a lot of judgment, even internally, right? You're looking at the new year going, oh, I haven't done XYZ. So what advice do you have to start a new year off strong? Other than don't care about all the accolades, right?
All of those things that are a lot of pressure
Mhm.
can also just be excitement. Hate how much I sound
Oh,
like a little, like, like a little, like, positivity doll, but it's like, I mean, I haven't done resolutions in forever. My resolution is, like, smile more.
yeah.
Um, but a new year is just an opportunity. I love new beginnings.
Mhm.
I mean, I love new beginnings as in, like, I love Mondays, and I love I love the 1st of the month, and I love the 1st of the year, and
Mhm.
it's just an opportunity to feel refreshed. It's like, let's reset. Let's come at this from a different angle. I always say all you have to do to change your life. I haven't actually changed my life, right? My life looks
Mhm.
almost exactly the same as it used to. All that's changed is my mindset. And it's just redefining those
It's
things. It's just redefining productivity and redefining success and
Mhm.
redefining dreams and goals and passions and stuff, and saying, like, my goal is to really take care of myself and be happy. My goal is to choose the smilier path, and
Mhm.
success to me will be if I survive the year. and
There you go.
and just, yeah, productivity is taking care of yourself. It's productive to rest, it's productive to sit and be still. It's productive to play a game. It's productive to do an activity you're bad at. Because you're taking care of your brain and your heart.
You're saying all the things I need to hear, because I think, like, even my question about what do you have to start a new year off strong is like, the supposition is like you need help to do that, right? Like, I need to know something to do it correctly to start it off
Oh,
strong,
no.
right? Yeah, looking at the phrasing,
You
I
don't
was like,
need to know anything.
No, I love what you said though about like reframing it to be excited, because the other way, if you're concerned about accolades and achievements, it's more like you're looking back. And so what you said is like, look ahead, be excited, be refreshed. Don't worry about what happened in the previous year. Like, look forward to what you got going on. That's what I took away.
Yeah, and I don't and I would say that's, like, pretty not typical of my general message, uh, is we get so focused on what's ahead of us, we forget where we are.
Mhm.
But if you're nervous about a new year, if you're like,
Right.
"Oh my god, I need to set myself up for success," it's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa."
Mhm.
Take 100 steps back.
Be in the
This is
moment.
a unique opportunity. A unique opportunity is what I say for scary stuff. This is such a unique opportunity.
I love that.
I
I love that.
and it's it's just reframing.
It's a reframe. We love a reframe.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a reframe. This is a reframe related question for you. So
Okay.
I have talked a lot on this podcast about battling brain noise, that
Uh-huh.
inside, yeah. And one of my favorite tips, I don't know if you do this, is you name your negative voice. So
Ooh.
my negative voice is Linda Lame Sauce.
I
So
love
if
that.
my brain, thank you, if my brain is like really loud and telling me, you're bad and you're dumb and nobody likes your ideas and why do you make a podcast? I'm like, hey, Linda, shush, 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 please have a seat. Sometimes I will literally out loud be like, Linda, unnecessary. So I was wondering if you've done something like that or like if you have any like practical tips for battling negative thoughts.
I mean, I call my brain a butthead all the time, and then I say that
I
this is
love
a
the word butthead. It's so
I do
simple
too,
and it makes
and
me laugh
I'm
every
looking
time
at
you
a
say it.
sign in the corner that says "No Butthead Zone," um,
Nice.
because because I am a no butthead zone,
Okay.
and my brain is a butthead, so it can't
Hmm.
come. It's not
Yep.
invited to the
Yep.
party. I always say so I did a video once, and uh, I told my brain to get on the team, like, "I need you to
Mm,
join the team. Please
yes.
stop please stop competing with your own team, like, we're a
Like,
team here.
right.
Why are you being so mean to me?"
I feel like I just need to stand in front of the mirror and do that. Be like, why are you being mean to me? That
Yeah,
would be really, that would be rude.
yes. I need my brain to be my biggest fan and my number 1 hype woman, and I
Mhm.
just need it I need it to get on the squad.
Get on the squad.
Yeah.
So you and your brain partnership is like hashtag squad goals. Like, let's do
Yeah,
this
it's
together.
like, "Come on, let's get on the same page. Let's
Mhm.
let's do this for us."
Mhm.
I can't rip you out of my head, so I'm gonna need you to get
Get
with
with
the
the
rest of
program.
the program. Yeah.
Let's get it together. Get it
I don't think
together,
I ever
Linda.
have given my brain a name because my eating disorder has, like, more of a
Got
body and a
it.
brain than
Okay.
it's, like, its own thing.
It's something. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. One, apologies if you know any Lindas that you love. I don't.
I
That's
don't
why
know
I
any
that's what I
Lindas.
wanted to see. There you go. I felt that was
I
that was
haven't,
tasty.
like, an my husband has an aunt,
Mhm.
Linda. No?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
No, you're good. Okay, good. Linda's good. Okay, we're gonna be getting into books soon, but I have a one more question I want to get into before we get into the lightning round and then books.
Mhm.
So here we go. So this time of year can be tough for people. By people, I mean me,
Yep.
as a person who's from Louisiana and now lives in the Midwest. Like we got a little glimmer of sun today, and I was like, thank you, everything above, because when you live in a place with full winter, it is hard out there. So I need to know what are your best winter survival tips? Like, if you know any good sock brands, I'm in the market for socks, but also like keeping your spirits up when the lack of sun is like crushing you from the inside.
It's so funny, my brain goes so fast, I had, like, 90. But I you have to go outside.
Mm.
You do, and I'm really bad at this, like, I will be in
Mhm.
my house for, like, 10 days straight and be like, "I don't think I've gone outside."
Are you like, wow, I'm really upset. Why am I upset? And then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, I haven't gone outside for 10 days.
I'm like, "You have to go outside for 5 minutes." Like, I know it's
Mhm.
cold and gross, but it makes a huge difference, like, just, like, get out of yourself and get out of your space. Like,
Yep.
physically removing yourself from the doom is, like, a
Mhm.
real thing. The other thing I like to do is is reframe it as cozy. So it's super cold, so it's like, "I'm gonna fluff this blanket and be so cozy,"
Mhm.
and then make a cozy meal and drink a
Okay.
cozy beverage.
Mhm.
When it's, like, feeling all doomy, it's like, I gotta do cozy. I gotta make this I gotta reframe this.
So lean into the season. Be like, I'm gonna get some soup. I'm gonna get some ciabatta bread. I'm
Yes,
gonna
oh
like,
my gosh, make some soup,
yeah,
delicious soup,
I'm
make
making soup
some
today.
broth. I
Mm.
use I use cooking as therapy, like, for real,
Mm.
because
Okay.
it's methodical, it gets me out of my head, it gets
Mhm.
me, like,
Mhm.
looking and chopping, and
Mhm.
I'll pick, like, a very involved recipe, like, this will get me out of my head for hours, and I love that, especially when it's winter and you can't really go outside, and it's not, like, grilling season and sitting
Mhm.
outside season, it's like, it's inside s stregonona stewing over my
Yes, Dragonona.
chopping my onions and my
Right.
celeries and my carrots.
Okay. Gotcha. What I'm hearing from you is like, I do a lot of the things you're talking about, but this will come as a huge surprise to you. I don't give myself credit for the things. I still feel like there's other things I'm like supposed to be doing or check. I'm like, oh, I do some of these things. I'm like, well, maybe
Oh,
Ashley, maybe what you're actually doing is kind of taking care of yourself, but still thinking that there's more to do. That's what
there
I feel.
there's always more to do, by the way,
Hmm.
so just
Yeah.
forget about that. There's
Mm.
you will never there will never be enough time, and there will always be more to do, so just
Hmm.
let that go because it's never gonna be done. You're never
Yeah.
done, and in the
Mm.
end, we all die.
That's true. Speaking of that, we're not even to the books yet, but I have to tell you about this book right now. And if you listen to podcasts, you're like, oh my gosh, is Ashley talking about Oliver Berkman again? Yes. There is a new book. It's called Time Management for Mortals by Oliver Berkman. And like he used to be like a hacky time management guy who basically is like, by the way, all of that is garbage. Like literally the first chapter of the book is like, you will be dead.
I'm
And
I
I
I
think you would like it. You
my
would love this
number
book.
one thing that I love about a person is their willingness to learn and grow.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Good for him. It's a good
Amazing
yeah.
job, guy.
You I think you would it's nonfiction, but it's I think you would enjoy it just because he's really distilling everything you're talking about, where he's all about pushing back on all the like, what is the thing he said? It was really funny. Oh, he talks about, like, how he used to be. He's like, "You know how people have hobbies, like, rock climbing and stuff?" He's like, "I used to be like that with, like, productivity tips, except, like, that's really sad." So, like, he, like, indicts himself for how focused he used to be on trying to, like, harness time to his advantage,
Yeah, I
and
wanna
he's
be
just
the
like,
most productive person in the room.
"Yeah,
I get
I
it.
know.
I really
Yeah,
do.
yeah, I
It
know."
all makes sense to me. And the thing about it though, let me
Mhm,
tell you this as somebody who has let go of like a lot of these fears
mhm,
that I feel like you have. I'm a
mhm.
thousand times more productive now than I've ever been.
Really?
But it doesn't feel like it because it's not, you know, I let go
Because
of
you
the
haven't tied, like, your value to it.
I yeah, it's I'm I get so much more done.
Mhm,
I have created an entire career. I record a daily morning show. I record content every day.
mhm,
And then I also do like my office job, which is being my own business.
right.
And I'm doing so much more than I've ever done and it feels like less
Wow.
cuz it's just like
I'm, like, stunned into silence. I'm like, "So you cannot be mean to yourself all the time and get things done and feel happy about it
I know
and
it
live
sounds
life
fake.
on your own terms."
I know it sounds fake, okay? I'm telling you.
You're like, "I know what it sounds like, but
I
it's real."
understand what it sounds like. It sounds like voodoo magic. And maybe it is. Self-care might be voodoo magic.
It could be.
We're just
It
so
could be.
bad at it that we
We're
didn't know.
so bad at it. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm gonna need like a real lie down after we're done today because I feel like you have just in a beautiful way
Yeah.
taken my brain out of my head and like shook it around. And I feel unsettled, but like in a great way.
No, I put
Like I
I
can't
I put
compliment it
stickers
enough.
on it. That's what I like to imagine that I take your brain and then I sat and I put little heart and rainbow stickers on it, and then I said, "Have it back
And I
now."
was
And
like, ooh,
you're
now
like,
it's bedazzled.
it feels both heavier and lighter in here."
Mhm. See, maybe what I need to do is maybe part of it is like I worry so much. I've got Linda Lame Sauce, my negative. Maybe I need to have like Anna. It can be my positive voice. I need to try to inspire the positivity on my inside instead of just worrying about the negativity. And then maybe the negativity will get quieter. What do we
I
think about that?
I did change my own inside voice
Mm,
by constantly talking about this stuff for the last several years.
yeah.
And now my voice, even when it's beating me up, I can say, "Hey, no, w- we don't think that. We
Hmm.
know that's not true." Like,
Yeah.
I know you're trying to convince me it's true, but I
Hmm.
don't think you're right.
Amazing. Oh, ma'am. Okay. Me and my glitter sticker brain are having such a fun time. We're gonna get into the lightning round though.
Mhm.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. We do this with our guest and co-host. So we have 3 questions to ask. The first question is, what is the best sandwich?
The best sandwich
Mhm.
is like a little bit crusty bread, not too
Mhm.
crusty, but a little bit
Yeah.
crusty. And then I don't even care what's on it as long as it has lettuce, oregano, oil, and vinegar, and like maybe
Oh.
a little salt and pepper. I love that
Mhm.
flavor. So it could be like a turkey sandwich or salami, whatever it is. I don't even care. It could just be a lettuce, oil, vinegar, salt, pepper, and oregano sandwich. I'd probably
That
love
sounds
it.
I've never done that. That sounds delicious. I'm gonna
It
try
is
it,
so
and I will
delicious.
I
It's
think
just,
do I have those things? Does it need to be can it be dried oregano?
yeah.
Why did I ask you that? Like, you were gonna be like, "No, Ashley, it has to be fresh oregano."
I
Come
don't
on.
even know. I don't even, they don't have fresh oregano around here.
No?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. That was a
So
silly
you can get
question.
thyme and like rosemary,
Mm.
but generally they don't have oregano.
Yeah. What
They
a
also,
question. Okay.
yeah.
See, did you see that immediately? I'm like, "Okay, but what kind of oregano
How
does it
can I
need to
do this
be?"
the most correctly
Because
and the best way? And you're like, no, you're you're not understanding
I
me.
know. You're like, "Did you hear anything I just said in the
And if you
past
don't
half
have the
hour?"
crusty bread, that's okay. I'll just throw it on a tortilla. Like,
There you go.
please.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Adaptability has changed my life. And please understand that I was the most type A, most
Mhm.
like perfectionist person in the world. And I just
Mhm.
sort of shattered my glass box and couldn't put it back together one day.
I Your goals. I love it. Thank you. Okay, next lightning round question. What is your middle name?
Kathleen.
Kathleen. Okay,
Yeah.
spelled regular way, right?
Yes.
K-A-D. Okay.
My name's
Wanted to
Anna
ask.
Kathleen. My mom's
Mm.
name is Kathleen Ann. So it's like,
Oh.
just have
Did you ever go by the middle name, or like you were always
no,
Anna? Okay. Gotcha. That's
very
fine.
much. I don't think it's very Midwestern to go by your middle name.
No, that's true. That's true. That's more southern, I think, to kind of
Mm-hmm.
mix it up. Yeah. Last little question, just a tiny, small, insignificant question. What is the best advice you received that has improved your life?
Okay. This was in 2020, so this was like before I realized that I could change my whole life. And I was
Okay.
talking to my psychiatrist
Mhm.
about my job at the time. And I said, some days I just think it would be easier to not to walk away.
Mhm.
And she said, "What's wrong with taking the easier route?" And I said, "What?"
You said, I'm sorry. Was that?
It's like
What?
everything you're saying though, but it was like it was this like moment where I was like, "You mean it doesn't have to be backbreaking to be valid?" Because that sounds crazy.
Let me just we just you mean it doesn't have to be backbreaking to be valid.
Mhm.
Everybody write that down. Get a
Mhm.
pen, open notes, put it down.
Yep. It's like you worrying about the oregano because even at the time I was like, I have to make the world's fanciest macaroni and cheese or my family won't love me. And it's like, what? You can just make regular mac and cheese. People are still gonna like it.
Yeah. Do you know who cares what I'm cooking for dinner in the house I live in? Literally me.
No,
Everybody
and
in
it was like,
my family's like, "Food looks great.
yeah,
Thanks."
she literally said, she's like, what would happen if you took the easier route? And I was like,
Did you see my eyebrows go up when you said that? I was like, "What did you just say to
I
me?"
know exactly. And
Cool.
when you think of like something that changed my whole life, it was like that moment. I was like, wait, have I
Mm.
been making my own life harder
Oh
all
my
the
gosh.
time for my
I
whole life? Yes.
I just imagined if when my husband came home today, if I was like, "Hey, do you think I make everything harder for myself?" Like, would he just fall down dead, or would he just like would his eyes roll? Like, would they go in a full circle? Like, I just
They would fall
imagined.
out.
Yeah, he would just collapse. He would collapse. We're not going to do that. Okay. So we can't leave without doing some unrequired reading because on this podcast we also love to talk about books. And because we have a special guest, I'm going to get you to do the honors first, and I
Mhm.
want you to tell us about some books that we should check out, and then I'm going to recommend some books to you, and I'm excited.
Okay.
So, what you
Number
got?
one, there's a book. It's a pretty
Mhm.
good book. It's by
What a
me.
beautiful book. Ah, shut what?
I wrote
What?
it myself.
Get
It's
out of
called Keep It
here.
Up, Cutie.
Keep
It
it up,
comes with
cutie.
stickers.
Mhm. Wait, it comes with stickers?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. What are those? Okay, I'm trying to read it. It says, so the
Oh, the
stickers
stickers
say,
say it's
I
called
need to know what the
Manifesting.
stickers say.
Look it up.
Love it.
Uh, and then there's like there's one life and there's two rules, and the rules are
Mhm.
don't be a shitty person and try to have some fun. So there's a don't be a shitty person and a try to have some
Okay.
fun. This one
Okay.
says, all wins are wins.
Yeah.
Keep it up, cutie. Be a
Mhm.
kick-ass little hottie. And have a jazzy day, my little jelly bean. I know.
Have a jazzy day, my little jelly
But this
bean.
book is like being inside my brain.
Okay.
This is what
Got
it's
it.
like to be me. It's
Okay.
colorful. It's very
It looks
pink.
great. You
But
guys can't see it, but it's very
but
pretty.
I hide wisdom in there for you.
Got it.
I
So
hide
you're
little
like tricking
nuggets.
us with pretty colors
I
and
am tricking you
stickers,
with
but
pretty
you're like,
colors.
haha, now you've
And
learned something.
backflips and shovels and it's my content in picture form
In
with
picture form.
words.
Love it. Okay.
The other book
Definitely.
that changed my whole life was Laziness Does Not Exist. Have you heard of this book?
No, and I feel like I need to read it.
Okay, I gonna look up who wrote it. It's a 2021 nonfiction book by Dr. Devin Price, and I it just it's one of those moments that redefines everything for you. Where someone says lazy and I'm like, no, you're resting. Or someone says lazy and I say, you think you're having a lazy day sitting on the couch with your children watching a movie together? You think that's what? You're like,
Why
you're
are you being
creating
so
memories.
mean to me again?
You're like, that is the most productive thing I can imagine. But
Yeah.
but it was this book, that did that for me. Right.
Mhm.
And so it says advocates for a more nuanced, curious, and empathetic approach to understanding ourselves, each other, and anyone society labels unproductive or lazy.
Well, I know what's at the top of my 2025 reading
Yes,
list now.
and so what's also funny is that somebody sent that to me because they watched me existing in a way where I was like, I need to be the most productive person in the room. I need to be the most exhausted person in the room. And I need this badge that says burnout to wear on my chest. And they were like, lady, I need you to read this. and it's just one of those redefining things.
Well, I'm gonna be getting it.
Mhm.
I will hold myself accountable. I'll let you know once I've read it. So that way, if come February, if you haven't heard from me, you can be like, hey, how's reading Laziness Doesn't Exist going? Because I love an accountability partner, because that is important in life.
Yes.
You can come at me for that. Okay. I love those 2 books. I'm very excited about both of them.
They're
I'm ready to
similar.
recommend some to you. You're like, "There's some." Are you ready? Are you ready for
Yeah.
recommendations? Okay.
I'm going to write it down.
So,
Is that okay?
I would love. That's great. Thank you. Okay. I got nervous because then, there's a lot of books in the world, but what if you recommend a book and somebody's read it? So I'm recommending 2 books, and
Okay.
I'm like, please, for the love, I hope you haven't read these books. So I did ask. So I asked her ahead of time. I asked if she wanted brain challenge or brain candy. You said more brain candy, and then you said romance and then historical. And so I've got the first book is actually, I wasn't sure if you meant like historical romance. So I have a historical romance.
Okay.
But this first one, you can tell I'm nervous. I'm like, please. Okay. Historical fiction that also has a little romance. The book is called 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes.
Okay.
Have you read this book?
No.
Okay, good. So Haynes is answering a what if premise. So what if all the women in the Trojan War were front and center in the story? So it's Greek mythology, but like flipped on its head. So like, what if Odysseus was the footnote instead of the main character? What if instead of hearing like, oh, Helen of Troy, she's so beautiful, you have to like have a war? Like, what's Helen about? Like, what's her deal? So it takes all these things you may know about and like flips it upside down.
I love that so much.
And I have to tell you, my favorite character, and so it changes, each chapter is like kind of jumps point of view to like different women. My favorite one is Penelope, which previously I would have just called Odysseus's wife because I didn't freaking know what her name was. But her things are written like she's writing him letters as he's like trying to get back. She's like, "Hey, Odysseus, you said you'd be back, and I'm hearing a lot of rumors in the village that you're like stopping places and like meeting up with women. Like, what's that about?" Like, she's like being real sassy about it. And that's a really fun one. And I recommend it a lot, so I think you would like it. And then the romance I have for you, there's 2 books are in a series. It's the first book is called The Queer Principles of Kit Webb by Kat Sebastian.
Oh my God. I haven't heard of that.
Yes. Nailed it. Okay. Not that I needed to get an A in giving you book recommendations,
But
who cares?
If it makes you feel better, here's a sticker. How's that?
Thank you so much. Okay, so the only problem with this book series, there's only 2 books. The problem with it is that there are not 22 books because I love them so much, I wanted to read them over and over. So the first book, it is a perfect read. It is fun and cheeky. There is, like, swashbuckling mystery. This is I wrote my Goodreads. I wrote my review, "Cheeky with equal parts swashbuckling mystery and eyebrow-waggling sexy times."
That
Um
sounds amazing.
yeah, so it's a romance between it's a rogue meets aristocrat romance is the first book. And then the second book takes 2 characters that are like their friends in the first book and then tells their story.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's
Also, I'm
perfect.
gonna get them for my sister-in-law.
Yes.
She's an English teacher, and they both sound also like she would like them too. So now I'm shopping.
So I've recommended to you and now you're gonna maybe give them to other people? That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you so
and
much.
I'm gonna read them too, obviously.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Um, well, that's about I mean, I'm saying that's about all I've got. Again, I could talk to you we could record a 17-hour podcast and I would
Well, you
listen
just
to
had me
it.
back on. It's all good.
I absolutely will because
I'll
it
write
has
another
been
book for the occasion.
oh, great. Yeah, just get on that, please. You don't have to. If you
I
do,
don't have an
though, we'll
offer,
talk
but
about it.
I could stir one up.
You could do it. I just like I said, my glitter brain thanks you from the bottom of my heart, which last week on the pod, I said the bottom of your heart was an aorta. It's not, it's a ventricle. So I'm thanking you from I looked it up. I'm thanking you from my ventricles for
Okay,
being here.
good. That's amazing.
For being here today because I've learned a lot and laughed a lot and you were
I'm sorry I broke
freaking
your brain.
joy. Well, it needed it though. It needed to get it shooken up a little bit.
I
So,
get that feedback sometimes after my live shows when people are like,
mhm.
"I didn't stay for the meet and greet because I needed to sit quietly and think." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Whoa, sorry."
that's what I'm gonna be doing after this. I'll just be in my room sitting quietly.
I forget that my life is arresting, you know? It can stop your heart.
Arresting. So what which could involve an aorta and a ventricle. See?
Yes.
Full circle. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being here today. I've had
Thank
a blast.
you.
Wonderful. All
I
right,
had
we're
such a
gonna
nice time.
awesome. I'm gonna hit stop now. Then we're gonna stop. Okay, bye. What an episode. That is one for the record books. But alas, it is now over. But I love a little recap because life is busy and I want you to have at least one nugget of wisdom to take with you. So, what did we do today? Well, today I spoke with the delightful Anna Przy and got to be the advice receiver from a content creator I truly adore. She has really cracked the code on being herself and doing what makes her happy rather than try to meet any sort of standards of productivity or live by anybody else's rules. A lot about today's episode resonated in particular with me, but in particular the lines, "There is no glory in burning yourself out," and "What's wrong with taking the easier route," are now permanently etched into my brain. In unrequired reading, our spectacular guest Anna recommended her own book, Keep It Up, Cutie, a not quite self-help book. It's like taking a fun trip inside her brain, plus stickers. She also recommended Laziness Does Not Exist, a defense of the exhausted, exploited, and overworked by Dr. Devon Price, which I, for one, cannot wait to read. And for her, and you, dear listener, I recommended 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes and the London Highwaymen 2-book romance series, starting with the book The Queer Principles of Kit Webb. And please follow and review wherever you pod, and join the Cheerbrarian on Instagram or Facebook by following me at the @Cheerbrarian handle. That's where you can see resource links and other goodies, and talk to me, which I would adore. Now go on, get out of here, drink more water. Okay, bye!